Hi, this is Steve Landrusy with the Investment Planning Group. Today, we're going to talk about asset allocation versus diversification. For many people, it means the same thing, and sometimes, depending on the conversation, it could be somewhat interchangeable. This is one of several short videos you can find on our website, www.planipg.com, in the Resources tab. The reason that our firm is doing these videos is to give people a basic education, not to turn you into portfolio managers, but we know that from time to time you'll make a decision on your own, and you may think you're doing the right thing, or you may think that you're taking on a certain level of risk. So most of these videos come back to risk. We'll talk about concepts, but at the end of the day, it still comes back to risk. Because when you're investing money, the more money you want to make, the more risk you end up taking. And it may be appropriate for you, but it's good that you understand what that risk is. And it's different for everybody, okay? So just as a recap, our first Education 101 video was on mutual funds and risk. We talked about stock and bond mutual funds and how to combine them to manage the risk in your portfolio. Education 102, we talked about the asset class. And this comes around today's conversation. Asset allocation, right? What is that? We'll get to that in a moment, right? So in our second video, we talked about asset classes. So when we diversify a portfolio or we use mutual funds to manage risk, we do that with asset classes. Stocks is an asset class, bonds is an asset class, and so forth. To learn more, obviously, see the video. And I recommend that you see these videos in order as we do them, because they're designed to help take you to a place where you know just a little bit more and hopefully make better decisions with your money. Education 103, sectors and asset classes, right? What's the difference? First, we talked about asset classes and then sectors, right? Well, an asset class is a stock or a bond. A sector is technology, energy, transportation, and so forth. Gold could be a sector. Some people think of it as an asset class. Truthfully, the asset class is precious metals and the sector is gold. So it kind of works into both, okay? But, you know, this is where we are today at our fourth video. And again, I recommend that you see them in order. Bear with me a second. Yes, I'm back. planipg.com, prominently displayed on our whiteboard here. So, asset allocation versus diversification. What is the difference, right? Well, let me give you three examples of a portfolio and tell me which one is asset allocation versus diversification. You have, number one is 100% of your money in the stock market. Number two is half of your money in the stock market and half of the money in the bond market. And number three, all of your money in the bond market. So can you tell me which one is considered asset allocation? Trick question. First, it's a trick question because I can't hear you, right? But the second reason it's a trick question is all three of these are considered asset allocation. And this is where it's different than diversification. Asset allocation is how we manage risk, but it's an intentional decision to have a certain percentage of your money in a certain asset class, right? So you look at Education 102 to get a description of what asset classes are. So all three are an asset allocation. Number one, someone made a conscious decision to allocate 100% of their money in the stock market. I don't think I'd recommend that, but that's what that is. 50 stocks, 50 bonds, that's also an asset allocation. It's probably what most of you thought is asset allocation, right? And also 100% of your money in the bond market. That's also asset allocation. You have allocated 100%. And that's how we manage risk. We put 10%, 20%, 30% in the stock market. We get more opportunity and more risk, right? So the asset class is how we manage risk with assets. Now, so what's diversification? In walks Mr. Bunny. What did our parents tell us? Do not put all of your eggs in one basket. That's Mr. Bunny there. Mr. Bunny has put all of his eggs in one basket. Shame on you, Mr. Bunny. Here comes Mr. Bunny number two. First Mr. Bunny's cuter. This one here. I don't think I like the glasses, but look at Mr. Bunny too. He has eggs all over the place, not just in his basket, right? But if you can look closer, you'll also see fruit and flowers and other things, not just eggs. Well, that's just sectors, right? And we'll talk about that in a more intermediate or advanced, video. So Mr. Bunny says, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. I had a client come to me one time, and he had 100% of his money in the stock market. And he said to me, my money is safe because I have 20 different stocks. So because I'm diversified, I am managing my risk. Now, we manage risk with asset allocation, not necessarily diversification. So you can have 10 stocks. You can be diversified, but you've also made a decision. I have 100% of your money in the stock market. You have to be prepared to take the risk that comes along with that, right? So the difference between asset allocation and diversification is asset allocation, you may, excuse my little pie chart here. Asset allocation, you may say, I will take half of my money and put it in stocks and half in bonds. That's asset allocation. So what's diversification? It's the stuff you put in here. That's diversification. So asset allocation is not necessarily diversification. It can be, and again, it's interchangeable in the vernacular of many, but really, unless you're a bunny and that's kind of all you know is eggs, right? Allocating your assets into a certain area is asset allocation. What you do in that area is diversification. And I would consider that to be a little bit more strategic. I've said it many times before, I'll say it again. I think investing is a full contact sport. If you don't have one, give us a call. 772-233-4315 or email us at info@planipg.com. We're located at 740 Indian Street in Stuart, Florida. Come see us, and we'll talk a little bit more if you don't have an advisor. But I hope you find this helpful. Email me if you have any suggestions for other topics that you'd like to see us cover. For that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching.